The Paris Olympics just wrapped up, and to say the least, it was quite eventful. We saw a lot of new sports making their debut, fresh faces emerging as heroes, world records being shattered, and of course some controversies. But overall, I'd say most people enjoyed the event, but one thing that really stood out to me was the introduction of new events like breakdancing. And while breakdancing certainly has its place in the world of competitive art, its inclusion in the Olympics sparked a lot of debate. And this really got me thinking. There are so many great sports out there that are just as deserving, if not more so, of a sport in the Olympic Summer Games. So here are a few sports that I genuinely believe should make their Olympic debut. Number 1, powerlifting. As a powerlifter myself, it is baffling that the sport hasn't made its Olympic debut, especially considering that it is literally designed to test your maximal strength. Now, while weightlifting has been a staple in the Olympics since the very first game in 1896 and has remained on the program ever since, however, weightlifting has faced its fair share of controversies, especially corruption in the International Weightlifting Federation, constant changes in weight classes, and rampant doping scandals, some of which have been conveniently ignored by officials. And these issues have often been cited as reasons why powerlifting shouldn't be included, given that many federations with varying rules and level of drug testing exist. But luckily, things are changing. The International Powerlifting Federation, the IPF, has worked tremendously to make sure the sport becomes more attractive to the Olympic Committee. And powerlifting, in many ways, is the strength version of the 100-meter dash. It seeks to determine who can produce the most force with a single repetition across 3 exercises that engage most of the body's muscles. And hey, if the Paralympics can include powerlifting, why can't the regular Olympics?
Wow.
Sure, powerlifting isn't the most viewer-friendly sport, with long breaks in between lifts and numerous weight classes to get through, but the sport has seen a massive surge in popularity recently, thanks to high-stake competitions like the SPD Sheffield and athletes with big personalities like Russell Orhii, Jessica Butner, and Panagiotis Tarinidis. And with its growing fan base, powerlifting definitely deserves a spot in the Olympic program in the future.
Oh, he's locked it out!
Another strength sport that has gained considerable popularity recently is arm wrestling. Now, arm wrestling is much more viewer-friendly than powerlifting. Matches are usually quick, only lasting for a few seconds at most, and almost everyone has at least tried it at some point in their life. Like, imagine an Olympic event where the top arm wrestlers go head-to-head, perhaps in a knockout format, or even a king of the table style event where the last one standing takes home the gold. Now, arm wrestling isn't exactly known for its strict drug testing protocols, which makes its inclusion in the Olympic Games very unlikely. But the sport has exploded in popularity on social media, thanks to personalities like Devin Larratt and Denis Suplenkov, and also more recently guys like Larry Wheels, Schoolboy, and even Brian Shaw. While it might be a long shot for arm wrestling to make it into the Olympics, the growing interest of the sport suggests that it could one day earn a place on the program. Moving away from strength sport though, let's talk about a sport that I think could bring a whole new level of excitement to the Olympics. A massive game of capture the flag. Imagine teams from different countries competing on a massive outdoor course filled with obstacles, mud pits, swimming sections, thick forest terrain, all while trying to capture the opposing team's flag without getting tagged. And if you get tagged, you have to run back to your home base before making another attempt. Now just picture 4, 6, or even 8 teams from different countries going head-to-head in this intense strategic game. The sheer scale and variety of challenges would make it one of the most exciting and watchable sports of the entire games. Seriously, Olympic Committee, can we swap out like speedwalking for this? But next up is a sport that is already a global phenomenon, mixed martial arts, or MMA for short. The UFC and other organizations have catapulted MMA into the mainstream, making it one of the fastest growing sports in the world. With its combination of striking, grappling, submissions, MMA showcases the full spectrum of martial arts skills in a way that is both brutal and somewhat beautiful. Now, including MMA into the Olympics would bring together the best fighters from around the world, representing their countries in a sport that is just as much about strategy and technique as it is about raw athleticism. While there are concerns about the sport's violence and need for strict regulations, these challenges are not insurmountable. Boxing, judo, and regular wrestling, after all, are all Olympic staples. And given the popularity and global reach of MMA, its inclusion seems like a natural evolution for the games. And lastly, let's talk about a sport that combines athleticism, strategy, and a bit of flair. Ultimate Frisbee. Now, Ultimate Frisbee has grown immensely over the last few decades, developing a pretty strong following at the grassroots level, and even having its own world championships. The sport is pretty fast-paced, it requires excellent teamwork, and has a pretty unique spirit of the game that emphasizes sportsmanship and self-officiating. Ultimate Frisbee would definitely bring a fresh, more dynamic element to the Olympics. It would probably appeal to younger audiences, and showcasing a sport that's truly global in reach. And there you have it, 5 sports that I think deserve a place in the Olympics, but just haven't made the cut yet. And whether or not it's the sheer power of lifting weights, the specificity of an arm wrestler, the strategy of capturing the flag, the global appeal of MMA, or perhaps the dynamic teamwork of Ultimate Frisbee, these sports all have what it takes to become Olympic staples. And the Olympics are, after all about celebrating the best of athletic competition, and I think it's time that these sports got their moment in the spotlight. So let me know what you guys think about these down below in the comments. Or maybe you have your own sports which you would love to see in the next Olympic Games. Thank you all so much for watching, make sure you leave a like and a comment if you enjoyed the content. Make sure you check out the other videos on the channel and some on the screen right now, and I'll see you all next time.